Hi, Dave Rossiter, Sensible Horsemanship. Today we've got a tip of the week for you that I think is going to help you out, and even though it seems like it's kind of complicated, it's really something you should practice every day, and a lot of people don't even think about it. So what we're going to work on today is what I call straightness. And when I talk about straightness, it's really an acronym for a situation where your horse's feet are all weighted equally, which is really hard to do. So with that said, we work on straightness going straight, and we work on straightness in turns and in circles. So really, when we talk about straightness, it's all about balance. And the more you can get your horse balanced, the better he's going to be at anything he does, whether he's a reining horse, he's a barrel horse, a rope horse, or whatever. But the foundation of balance is straightness. And again, straightness is not only going forward straight, but it's going on a circle straight, where the horse is totally balanced on both sides of his body. And when we go into our level 2 lessons, we get more specific on getting the horse more balanced and the straightness. But for now, at this level with Waylon, what we're doing is we're just kind of working now on following our eyes, getting the horse to stay between our hands, seat, and legs. And this exercise that I'm going to show you is just an excellent thing to do. And the better you get, you're going to think more and more about when you get on your horse, how you can ride that horse straight. And this is the foundation for a lot of things that we do. When we get into doing lead departs and lead changes, we've already worked on going from one end to the arena to the other, working on that horse going straight. So when we start introducing lead departs and then lead changes, that horse is balanced and straight, and it's a lot easier for him to learn to take those leads and do the lead changes. So the real key here is that as you start doing this, it's really going to get you to start thinking about your whole body and the awareness of where your seat's at, where your legs are at, and where your hands are at. And more than anything, it's going to teach you that when you're trying to take your horse through here straight, even though this isn't very far, but this is a good way to start, is we want that horse to travel on a 2-track. And for now, it's not totally all 4 feet equally weighted, because as we've talked about, the horse naturally has more weight on his front end compared to his back end. But once we get him to where he starts to engage those hindquarters and start to collect, that's when we get the true balance where all 4 feet are totally equal. But he's not there yet, so what we're going to work on is at least starting to get him to go straight, and we're teaching ourselves for him to follow our eyes. We're teaching ourselves to be balanced in the saddle, because if he has to compensate for our unbalance in the saddle, that's going to create unequal weight in his feet. And then the other thing too is we learn not to overcompensate. So if I'm walking this horse and trying to get him to go straight, I'm not pulling here, and pulling here, and the horse is going like that. Everything is going to start to become more and more subtle, with starting with my seat and then hands and legs if I need to. So let me just kind of show you. So what I do, if you just put some cones out like that and rake it so you can see his feet, and this is what we call 2-tracking, because his 2 feet in front and his 2 feet in back create a 2-track. So ideally we want to be able to get this horse to where we're coming down through here and we've got a perfect 2-track, and that's what we're really working for. And like I said earlier, the more that you can do this, the better you're going to get at keeping your horse straight, so that eventually when you get him to the upper levels, he's got the foundation to be straight and balanced. So I go through there, and now I'll look back and see that really wasn't too bad. So I've kind of got a 2-track going there. And then as we talk about in level 2, your horse not only follows your eyes, but we want to get to where he follows our seat. And what I mean by that, when I move my eyes like that, that's going to dictate the size of the arc of the circle that I'm going to do. So my eyes are going to be like that, and then I'm going to match my shoulders with the tightness of that turn. So my eyes and shoulders, and I don't go like that, but I'm moving my shoulders the way I want his shoulders to move. And then we work on exercises to get him flexible in the rib cage, which is probably the most inflexible part of his body. And then as far as the hind end, we move our hips to match his hips. So on the arc of a circle, I have my eyes like that, my shoulders like that. Then I move my belt buckle out like that to move his hips in. So my hips go like that, and his hips will match that. And I'll show you that when I try to do an arc there on going through the circle. So for now, you really don't have to work on the arc stuff, but if you think about it, an arc of the circle is traveling on that circle where his whole body follows that arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow my eyes, I'm going to move my hip out like that, and he follows the arc. My right foot goes back, and my shoulders match his like that. And then I move my hips back, and the more you can do that, and if you're subtle and consistent, he's going to begin to start following your eyes, your hips, and your shoulders. So now I straighten him out. So my hips are straight. It's between my legs. I'm following my eyes. Then I'm going to do an arc to the left. So hips out, eyes, like that. Then back straight, like that. So one of the things that I emphasize is the majority of people out there, what they do is they go out and all they do is they do circles on their horse. They lope their horse in circles. And there's really not a whole lot wrong with that, but the more you think about doing things in straightness, where when you go out and you lope your horse in the arena, what you should be doing is loping him along the rail and then doing the arcs around the end of the arena, and just break it up into straight lines and then 90-degree turns, straight lines, 90-degree turns. And that way, what the horse is going to do is going to keep him from dropping his shoulder, and it's going to keep him from his hind end flying out of the arc of the circle. So straightness is one of the most important things that you can do, and the more you practice this kind of stuff, where you look at that 2-track and you're trying to make sure you're able to get him on a 2-track and then get out in the arena, see if you can get a 2-track all the way down the length of the arena, take him outside and look at a tree that's a quarter mile down the road and see if you can keep him on a straight line to that tree with your eyes, seat, shoulders, and legs. So let me just see if I can take him on the arc here. And again, this is really a great exercise for practicing where your seat's at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look the arc of the circle. I'm going to move my belly button out like that. Hold that hip in, that shoulder out. There, that wasn't bad. And the less movement you have, then when you do ask the horse with some kind of pressure, it means something. Because if I'm moving around or I'm unbalanced, the horse isn't understanding what I'm trying to tell him. So again, when I hit this arc, I'm going to move my eyes with the arc, my shoulders. I'm going to move my left leg back here. There, that wasn't too bad. But the better he gets and the more conditioned he gets with learning that arc and the bend in those ribs, he's just going to get better and better. So hopefully that helps. Thanks.